I was wrong about my daughter-in-law. Rebecca wasn't the sweet, struggling single mother I thought she was. She was something else entirely. And by the time I figured it out, she'd already taken everything I had left of David. My son died 3 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. He went from diagnosis to gone in 4 months, and I still can't walk past his old bedroom without feeling like someone's squeezing my heart. Rebecca showed up at the funeral with Mason, my 7-year-old grandson, both of them looking so lost. She held my hand during the service. She cried with me. She let Mason stay with me every weekend because she said I needed him as much as he needed me. I believed her. David had been a firefighter, good man, better father. He'd set up a college fund for Mason, bought a small life insurance policy, nothing huge but enough. Rebecca said she wanted to keep working as a dental hygienist, stay independent, make David proud. I respected that. I loved her for that. But Rebecca started calling. Little things at first. Linda, I'm so sorry to ask, but Mason needs new shoes. The ones he has are falling apart and I don't get paid until Friday. Could you help? Just $50? Of course I could. Mason was my grandson. David's son. I'd give him the world if I could. Then it was the car. The registration was due and she was short $200. Then the electricity bill. Then the water heater broke. Then Mason needed a dentist appointment, ironic considering her job, and her insurance had lapsed. Then. I ran a small bookkeeping business from home. Nothing fancy. I did taxes for local shops, managed payroll for a few restaurants. I'd been doing it for 30 years, built up a decent reputation. I charged fair rates and I lived simply. My house was paid off. David's father, my husband Tom, had died 15 years ago and left me comfortable. Not rich. Comfortable. Every time Rebecca called, I transferred money. 50 here, 300 there. Sometimes I'd just hand her cash when she picked up Mason. She always teared up when I did. You're an angel, Linda. I don't know what we'd do without you. David was so lucky to have you as a mom. That's what she'd say. Every single time. Mason started looking different. New tablets. Expensive sneakers. The kind with the lights that cost $120. Designer backpack. I mentioned it once, casually, when she came to pick him up. Oh, those were gifts from my sister, she said, not meeting my eyes. She feels bad that Mason lost his dad. She spoils him. I didn't know Rebecca had a sister. David had never mentioned one. But grief makes you stupid. It makes you want to believe the best in people, especially the people your dead son loved. I kept giving. 6 months after David died, I got diagnosed with degenerative disc disease. My spine was deteriorating and the pain was getting worse. The doctor recommended surgery, but it wasn't cheap even with Medicare. I needed to save $12,000 for the deductible and out-of-pocket costs. I set up a separate savings account. I labeled it Surgery Fund in my online banking. Every month, I put $500 in there. Sometimes more if I had a good month with the business. Rebecca didn't know about this account. I didn't tell her. Some instinct, some small voice in the back of my head told me not to. But I kept the main checking account open for her. I'd given her my debit card information months ago when she needed to pay Mason's school fees online, and I was in the middle of a client meeting. She'd said it was easier that way. Emergency access. Just in case. The calls kept coming. Mason needs a soccer uniform. $300. My car needs new brakes. $800. The landlord raised the rent. Can you cover the difference? Just $400. I paid. I always paid. Because what else was I supposed to do? Let my grandson go without? Let them get evicted? My neighbor, Joyce, mentioned it one day. We were having coffee on my porch and I was complaining about money being tight. How much have you given her, Linda? I didn't know. I'd never added it up. It felt wrong to keep track. It felt like I was putting a price on my grandson's well-being. Joyce gave me a look. That look. The one that says you're being an idiot but I love you too much to say it outright. You need to check your accounts. I laughed it off. But that night, I logged into my banking. I went through 6 months of transactions. I added them up on a notepad, my handwriting getting shakier with each number. $18,400. In 6 months. I sat there staring at that number until my vision blurred. That couldn't be right. I counted again. Same total. I checked the year before David died. I'd given Rebecca maybe $2,000 total, and that was for Christmas and Mason's birthday combined. Something had shifted after the funeral. I told myself she was grieving. She was overwhelmed. Single parent, full-time job, a child to raise alone. Of course she needed help. Of course she was struggling. I kept giving. Then came January 15th. I was carrying groceries in from the car, 3 bags, nothing I couldn't handle normally, but my back had been particularly bad that week. I'd been putting off the surgery, trying to save more, trying to make sure I had enough cushion. The pain was constant now. Some days I could barely get out of bed. I had 2 bags in my left hand and was reaching for the third when my back spasmed. Not the usual ache. This was different, lightning bolt different. My legs buckled and I went down hard on the icy driveway. I heard the crack before I felt it. My wrist. I lay there for what felt like hours but was probably 2 minutes, trying to breathe through the pain. Both pains, my back and my wrist, competing for which could hurt worse. I couldn't get up. I couldn't reach my phone in my pocket. Joyce found me. She'd been watching from her window, worried about the ice, and when she saw me go down, she came running. She called 911. She held my good hand in the ambulance. She stayed with me through the emergency room. Fractured wrist. Would need a cast for 6 weeks minimum. The ER doctor took one look at my grimace when they moved me and ordered an MRI for my back too. The fall might have made things worse, he said. We need to see what we're dealing with. The MRI showed a herniated disc. Worse than before. They wanted to schedule surgery immediately. How immediately? I asked. 2 weeks if we can get insurance approval. Any longer and you risk permanent nerve damage. I called Rebecca from the hospital. She didn't answer. I tried 3 more times. Finally, I texted. Fell. Broke my wrist. In ER. Can you get Mason from school? She texted back 2 hours later. Oh my God, are you okay? Yes, I'll get Mason. So sorry, phone was dead. Feel better. She didn't come to the hospital. She didn't call. She picked up Mason from school and took him to her apartment, and I didn't hear from her for 2 days. Joyce drove me home. She helped me into the house. She unpacked my prescriptions. She made me soup. Where's Rebecca? She asked. Busy with Mason, I said. Joyce didn't say anything, but her mouth got tight. I spent 3 days on the couch, trying to manage the pain with pills that didn't quite work. My laptop was on the coffee table. I couldn't type well with one hand in a cast, but I could click. I needed to check my surgery fund, see how much I had, start figuring out logistics. I logged into my banking. The surgery fund had $8,200 in it. I'd had $9,000 before the fall. I'd made a withdrawal 3 days earlier. Except I hadn't. I stared at the screen. $800 withdrawn at an ATM in downtown Portland. I lived 40 minutes outside the city. I hadn't left my house in a week before the fall. My hands started shaking. I clicked on my main checking account. The balance was wrong, way wrong. I should have had at least $4,000 in there from my January client payments. The screen showed $632. I went through the transactions. My vision was blurring, but I kept clicking. 3 days before my fall, ATM withdrawal, downtown Portland, $1,500. 2 days before that, online transfer to something called Cascade Luxury Auto, $12,000. Cascade Luxury Auto. I Googled it with one shaking hand. High-end car dealership, Lexus, BMW, Mercedes. Rebecca had bought a car. With my surgery money, I couldn't breathe right. The room was tilting. I kept scrolling through transactions. ATM withdrawal. Online purchase at Nordstrom. ATM withdrawal. Payment to Sunset Ridge Spa and Resort. ATM withdrawal. Payment to Elite Fitness Solutions. Gym membership, spa resort, Nordstrom, $1,500 at a time from ATMs. I added it up, $41,800. Gone. Not in 6 months. In 8 months. I'd just never checked. Never wanted to see. Never wanted to know. $41,000 and I was sitting here with a broken wrist and a herniated disc that needed surgery I could no longer afford. I called the bank. My voice was shaking so badly, the woman on the phone asked if I was okay. My account has been compromised, I said. There are unauthorized withdrawals. She pulled up my records. There was a long pause. Ma'am, I'm showing these transactions were all authorized. They were made with your debit card or through online banking with your login credentials. Do you still have your card? I looked at my wallet. The card was there. I'd stopped using it months ago, had been using credit cards instead for points. But it was there. Did someone else have access to your card information? Rebecca. I'd given her the numbers. Just for Mason's school fees. Just once. Just to make it easier. Ma'am? Yes, I whispered. Someone had access. I'm very sorry, but since you authorized that person to use your card initially, the bank considers these transactions valid. You would need to file a police report for fraud if you believe this person exceeded your permission. Police report. Fraud. Rebecca. David's widow. Mason's mother. The woman I'd been helping. The woman I'd loved because my son loved her. I hung up. I sat there staring at my laptop screen until the numbers blurred into nothing. Joyce came by that evening to check on me. She took one look at my face and sat down. What happened? I told her. All of it. The money, the car, the withdrawals. Every number, every transaction, every lie Rebecca had told while taking my money, my surgery money, my survival money. Joyce's face went red. She actually stood up and started pacing. You're calling the police. Right now. Tonight. She's Mason's mother. She's a thief. If I call the police, what happens to Mason? He just lost his father. If his mother goes to jail. Linda. Joyce grabbed my shoulders, careful of the cast. Listen to me. You need surgery. You need that money. If you don't get that surgery, what happens to you? Who takes care of Mason then? I couldn't answer that. You gave her access in good faith. She stole from you. She stole your medical fund while you were lying in pain. She didn't even come to see you in the hospital. Where was she when you fell? Where was she when you needed her? Buying a Lexus, apparently. Getting spa treatments. Withdrawing $1,500 at a time from ATMs while I rationed my pain pills because the copay was $30. I called Rebecca. She answered on the first ring this time. Linda! Oh my gosh, how are you feeling? I've been so worried. Her voice was bright, cheerful, not a hint of guilt. Rebecca, I need to talk to you about my bank accounts. Silence. My what? My bank accounts. I saw some transactions I don't recognize. Oh. Her voice changed, flatter. What kind of transactions? A car purchase. $41,000 total over 8 months. More silence. Rebecca, I can explain. Please do. I was going to tell you. I was. But you've been through so much and I didn't want to stress you out. That car, the Lexus, I needed it for work. My old Honda was dying and I couldn't keep taking Mason around in something unreliable. It wasn't safe. And I'm paying you back, Linda. I am. I just need time. You took my surgery money. What? The money I saved for my surgery. For my back. You took it. I didn't know that's what it was for. You never told me you needed surgery. I had told her. The day I got diagnosed. We'd had coffee at my house and I'd shown her the doctor's notes and explained about the savings account. She'd hugged me and said she'd help me however she could. I told you, I said quietly. I don't remember that. Rebecca, I need that money back. I need surgery in 2 weeks or I risk permanent damage. I don't have it, Linda. The car payments are $300 a month. I can send you that? $300 a month. On the $41,000 she'd taken. That's not enough. Well, I don't know what you want me to do. Her voice was sharp now, defensive. I'm a single mother working full-time. I don't have extra money lying around. You gave me access to your account. You told me to use it when I needed it. I needed it. For Alexis. For reliable transportation for your grandson. For spa treatments. For Nordstrom. For $1,500 ATM withdrawals. She hung up. I sat there with the phone against my ear, listening to dead air. She'd hung up on me. Joyce was right. I had to call the police. This was theft. Fraud. It didn't matter that she was David's widow. It didn't matter that Mason was my grandson. She'd stolen my medical fund and left me here with a broken wrist and a deteriorating spine. I picked up the phone, put it down, picked it up again. If I did this, Mason would know. He was 7, but he'd understand eventually. He'd know his grandmother sent his mother to jail. What would that do to him? He'd already lost his father. Could I take his mother too? But what was the alternative? Let her get away with it? Keep enabling her while I sat here unable to afford the surgery that would let me walk without pain? I thought about David. What would he want me to do? The answer came immediately. He'd want me to protect Mason, but he'd also want me to protect myself. David had been furious at his father for letting people take advantage of him. "You have to set boundaries, Dad," he'd said once. "Kindness without boundaries isn't kindness. It's just letting people hurt you." I'd told Tom the same thing. And here I was, doing exactly what we'd warned him against. I called my lawyer, Martin. He'd handled Tom's estate. He'd helped me set up the business. He was in his 70s now, but sharp as ever. "Linda, what's wrong?" I told him everything. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, "You have several options. Criminal charges would be the strongest deterrent, but as you said, that affects your grandson. Civil suit would let you recover the money through the courts without jail time, but it's slower. Or you could confront her directly with evidence and a lawyer present, see if the threat of legal action motivates repayment. What would you do?" "I'd prosecute, but I don't have a 7-year-old grandson involved. The money is gone, isn't it? Even if I sue her, she spent it. I'll never see it back. Possibly not. But sometimes it's not about the money. It's about the boundary. It's about saying this is not acceptable and there are consequences." Consequences. I thought about that word for 3 days. My wrist throbbed. My back screamed. I ran out of pain pills and had to call for a refill I couldn't quite afford. Rebecca texted once, "Can we talk?" I didn't respond. She texted again, "I know you're upset, but I'm still Mason's mother. I still need to be able to see you." Still need. Not Mason needs. She needs. She texted a third time, "I'm bringing Mason over on Saturday. We need to work this out like adults." Saturday. 4 days away. I called Martin back. "I want to prosecute," I said, "but I want to do it my way." "What way is that? Can you have the police there when she comes over? So I can confront her directly first, then press charges immediately? That's unusual. But yes, I can arrange it." "You're sure?" "I'm sure." He set it up. The detective was skeptical at first, thought I should just file a report and let them handle it. But Martin convinced him. Maybe it was my age. Maybe it was the cast on my arm. Maybe it was the fact that she'd stolen from a disabled senior citizen. Whatever it was, he agreed. "We'll be there Saturday at 2 p.m. Don't confront her before we arrive. Let us handle the arrest. I need 10 minutes with her first. Please." He looked at Martin. Martin nodded. 10 minutes. Then we come in. Saturday morning, I made pot roast, Rebecca's favorite meal. David had told me once that his dad used to make it every Sunday, and Rebecca loved it so much she'd asked for the recipe. I'd made it for her dozens of times. Birthday dinners, Christmas, regular Sundays when she'd bring Mason over. I set the table with the good dishes. The ones Tom and I got as a wedding gift. I put out fresh flowers from the grocery store. I made mashed potatoes and roasted carrots and a chocolate cake for dessert. Joyce came over at noon. "You're really doing this." "I'm really doing this." The pot roast is cruel. The pot roast is necessary. She hugged me, careful of my wrist. "I'll be next door if you need me." At 1:45, I watched through the window. The detective's car pulled up 3 houses down, unmarked. He and Martin stayed inside. At 2 p.m. exactly, Rebecca's new Lexus pulled into my driveway. My surgery money, sitting in my driveway, shiny, pristine, black with cream leather interior. Through the windshield, I could see Mason in his booster seat, playing on a tablet that hadn't existed 3 months ago. Rebecca got out first. She was wearing a new coat, designer. I recognized it from a Nordstrom ad I'd seen online, $800. She got Mason out and they walked to the door. I opened it before she could knock. "Hi, Linda." Mason launched himself at me. I caught him with my good arm, trying not to jar my wrist. He felt heavier, growing. David's face was so clear in his features it hurt to look at him. "Hi, sweetie. I made pot roast." "Yay, Grandma Linda's pot roast." He ran toward the kitchen. Rebecca stood in the doorway. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside. She walked past me, not quite meeting my eyes. "It smells amazing. You didn't have to go to all this trouble." "No trouble." We went to the kitchen. Mason was already at the table, bouncing in his chair. "Can I have cake first?" "After dinner," Rebecca said automatically. Then, to me, softer, "Linda, I'm really sorry about the misunderstanding. I honestly thought, not in front of Mason." She blinked, nodded. I served the pot roast. I gave Mason extra carrots because he asked. I cut Rebecca's meat into perfect slices and gave her the biggest portion. "This is delicious," she said after the first bite. She smiled. "You always make the best pot roast." "Tom's recipe." "I know. David told me his dad made it every Sunday." She took another bite. "I miss those days." "Do you?" She looked up. Something in my tone. "Of course I do. I miss David every day. But the money helps." Her fork stopped halfway to her mouth. "What?" "The $41,000. Does it help with missing David?" Mason was humming to himself, pushing carrots around his plate. He wasn't listening. Rebecca set down her fork. "Linda, the Lexus is beautiful. I saw it in the driveway. Is it comfortable? Worth $12,000? You said I could use the account. For Mason's emergencies. For genuine needs. Not for luxury cars and spa weekends and $1,500 shopping sprees. I needed those things. I needed to feel human again after David died. You needed my surgery money?" Her face flushed. "I told you. I didn't know." "I told you. Well, I forgot. I've been under a lot of stress." "So have I. I broke my wrist. I have a herniated disc. I need surgery or I'll have permanent nerve damage. And I can't afford it anymore because you took everything I saved." Mason stopped humming. He looked between us, his eyes wide. "Mommy? It's okay, baby. Grandma Linda and I are just talking. You're being loud." "I know. I'm sorry." Rebecca's voice was tight. She looked at me. "Can we discuss this privately?" "Why? So you can hang up on me again?" I didn't hang up. The call dropped. "Rebecca." I leaned forward. My back screamed in protest, but I didn't care. "You stole from me. You took money I trusted you with, and you bought things you wanted. Not needed. Wanted. While I was lying on the ground with a broken wrist, you were driving around in a car you bought with my medical fund. I'm paying you back. $300 a month. It'll take 11 years. "Well, what do you want me to do? I can't give you money I don't have." "You could have not stolen it in the first place." "I didn't steal. You gave me access. For emergencies." "Everything was an emergency. Do you think it's easy being a single parent? Do you think I wanted to ask you for money constantly? I was embarrassed. Every time I had to call you, every time I had to admit I couldn't handle it alone, it killed me. So yes, when I had the chance to get something nice for once, to treat myself after a year of hell, I took it. I'm sorry if that makes me a bad person." She was crying now, real tears streaming down her face. Mason started crying too. "Mommy, why are you sad?" "I'm okay, baby, I promise." I looked at her across the table. My daughter-in-law, the woman my son had loved, the mother of my grandson, and all I could see was the $800 coat and the designer tablet and the Lexus in the driveway. "David would be ashamed of you," I said quietly. Her head snapped up. "Don't you dare. Don't you dare use my dead husband against me. He'd be ashamed that you stole from his mother, that you took advantage of her grief, that you let your son's grandmother go without medical care so you could buy luxury items. Get out. This is my house. Then we're leaving." She grabbed Mason's hand. He was full-on sobbing now, not understanding. "Grandma Linda, I don't want to go. I didn't finish my pot roast. You can take it to go, sweetie. Mommy needs to leave now." Rebecca dragged him toward the door. I followed, slower, my back protesting every step. She yanked the door open and stopped. 2 men were standing on my porch. The detective and Martin. "Rebecca Chen?" the detective said. She looked at them. At me. Back at them. "Yes? I'm Detective Morrison with the Portland Police Department. I need you to come with me. You're under arrest for theft and fraud." The color drained from her face. "What?" He started reading her rights. Rebecca was shaking her head, backing up, pulling Mason behind her. No, this is insane. Linda, tell them this is a misunderstanding." I didn't say anything. "Linda, you're really doing this?" You're really having me arrested in front of my son? Mommy? Mason's voice was so small. The detective stepped forward. Ma'am, I need you to turn around and put your hands behind your back. You're insane. You're a crazy old woman and you're doing this out of spite. I'm doing this, I said quietly, because you stole $41,000 from me and refused to return it, because you spent my surgery money on a luxury car, because you showed no remorse until the consequences arrived. I was paying you back $300 a month. After taking $41,000, the detective had her hands behind her back now. Handcuffs clicked. Mason was screaming, "Don't take my mommy! Grandma Linda, don't let them take my mommy!" It was the worst sound I'd ever heard. Worse than David's last breath. Worse than Tom's heart monitor flatlining. My grandson, screaming for his mother, while I stood there and let them arrest her. Rebecca was crying hard now. Mason, baby, it's okay. It's going to be okay. Grandma Linda is just upset. She's confused. I'll be home soon. Ma'am, don't make statements. The detective was guiding her toward the door. Linda, please. Please don't do this. Think about Mason. Think about what this will do to him. I crouched down, my back screaming, and looked Mason in the eyes. He was hiccuping, his face red and splotchy. Mason, I love you. I will always love you. But your mommy did something very wrong, and there have to be consequences for wrong actions. Do you understand? I want my mommy. I know, sweetie. I know. They took her outside. Put her in the car. Mason ran after them, and I had to grab him with my good arm. He fought me. 7 years old, and he fought like a wild thing, screaming and crying and begging me to let him go. Martin came back inside. I called Child Protective Services. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Do you want me to stay with him? No. I've got him. Mason eventually stopped fighting. He collapsed against me, sobbing into my shoulder. I held him with one arm and stroked his hair with the other, the cast awkward and heavy. I hate you, he whispered. I know. You're mean. I know. I want my daddy. Me too, baby. Me too. Joyce came over. She took over with Mason while I sat down before my back gave out completely. CPS arrived. A tired-looking woman with kind eyes who sat with Mason and explained that he'd be staying with me for now, that his mom would call him as soon as she could. I don't want to stay here, Mason said. I want to go home. I know, sweetie. But for tonight, you're staying with Grandma Linda. After they left, I put Mason to bed in David's old room. He cried himself to sleep. I sat in the hallway outside the door, my back against the wall, listening to him whimper in his dreams. Joyce sat down next to me. You did the right thing, she said. Did I? She stole from you. She showed no remorse. She would have kept taking if you'd let her. He'll never forgive me. Maybe not. But he'll be alive with a grandmother who can take care of him because you got your surgery, because you didn't let her bleed you dry. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, Martin called. Rebecca's been charged. Arraignment is tomorrow. Her bail will probably be around $50,000. Will she make it? She doesn't have $50,000. She spent 41 of mine, and I don't know where the rest of her money goes. Then she'll stay in custody until trial. Trial? Court. My daughter-in-law facing a judge because of me. I made breakfast. Scrambled eggs and toast. Mason came downstairs, his eyes swollen. Is Mommy coming home? Not yet. When? I don't know. He didn't eat, just pushed the eggs around his plate. Finally, did she really steal from you? I could lie. I could soften it, but he'd find out eventually. Yes. She took money from my bank account without asking. Money I needed for a surgery. Why? I don't know. You'd have to ask her. Are you going to die? No. I'm going to get the surgery now and be fine. Is Mommy going to jail? I don't know. Maybe. He started crying again. Silent tears this time. No sound. It was worse than the screaming. The next few weeks were brutal. Rebecca called from jail, begging me to drop the charges. Mason begged me every night. Please, Grandma Linda, please let Mommy come home. I had my surgery. Joyce took care of Mason while I recovered. The surgery went well. The pain started to fade. I could walk without feeling like someone was stabbing me in the spine. I paid for it with money Martin helped me recover. He'd frozen Rebecca's bank accounts, gone after the Lexus dealership for a return. We got some of it back, not all. Enough. Rebecca's trial was set for 3 months out. Her public defender called me twice, trying to negotiate. My client is willing to pay full restitution if you drop the charges. She doesn't have the money. She'll get a payment plan. She offered me $300 a month. That's not restitution. Mrs. Carter, your daughter-in-law is a single mother. Do you really want to send her to prison? I want her to face consequences for stealing $41,000. They offered a plea deal. 5 years probation, full restitution at $1,000 a month, community service. I said no. Why? Martin asked. You'll get your money back faster. Because she needs to understand. Really understand. Not just get a slap on the wrist and probation she'll violate the first time it's inconvenient. Mason had been living with me for 2 months when Rebecca's trial started. I'd enrolled him in the local elementary school. He made a friend. He stopped crying every night. He still asked about his mom, but less often. The trial took 3 days, I testified. I brought bank statements. I explained about the surgery, the broken wrist, the phone calls where she'd hung up. Rebecca's lawyer painted me as a vindictive old woman who'd offered money freely and was now regretting it. Mrs. Carter never told my client she couldn't use the funds. She provided unlimited access. This is a family dispute, not a theft case. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The judge looked at Rebecca with something like pity. Miss Chen, you exploited a grieving woman's trust. You stole from your late husband's mother, a woman who was trying to help you and your son. I'm sentencing you to 2 years in prison, followed by 3 years probation. You'll pay full restitution upon release. Rebecca sobbed, looked back at me in the gallery. I hope you're happy. I hope this was worth it. I wasn't happy. I was tired. I was sad. I was grieving all over again, not just for David but for the family I'd thought I had. Mason didn't speak to me for a week after the sentencing. Joyce came over every day, helped with dinners, helped with homework. She sat with me while I cried at night. You did what you had to do, she said. I destroyed his family. She destroyed it. You just stopped letting her destroy yours too. 6 months later, Mason and I were having breakfast. He'd started talking to me again. Small things. Can I have more juice? What's for dinner? Progress. Grandma Linda? Yes. Is Mommy ever coming home? In a year and a half. She'll serve her time and then she'll have to stay out of trouble. And then can I live with her again? I looked at my grandson, David's son. He'd grown 2 inches in 6 months. He'd lost a tooth. He'd made the soccer team. He was surviving. We'll see what the court says. But probably, yes. Do you still hate her? I never hated her. I was angry. I'm still angry. But I don't hate her. Do you think she'll steal again? Smart kid. David's son through and through. I don't know. I hope not. I don't want to lose you too, he whispered. I got up, my back only twinges now instead of screaming, and hugged him. You won't. No matter what happens with your mom, you won't lose me. I promise. Even though I said I hated you? Even then. He hugged me back. I'm sorry I said that. I know, baby. I know. Rebecca writes letters from prison. They're addressed to Mason, but I read them first. Most of them are appropriate. Some include jabs at me, bitter comments about how I ruined her life. I don't give Mason those ones. The money comes back slowly. The state garnishes her prison wages, $40 a month. At this rate, I'll have it all back in 86 years. I'm 73 now. I'll be long dead. But that's not the point anymore. The point is that Mason knows there are consequences. The point is that he sees what happens when you take advantage of people who love you. The point is that when he's older and someone tries to manipulate him with guilt or family obligation, he'll remember that love doesn't mean letting people hurt you. Joyce and I were having coffee last week when she asked, "Do you regret it?" I thought about it. The pot roast, the arrest, Mason screaming, the trial, all of it. No, I said finally. I regret that it had to happen. I regret that Rebecca made the choices she made, but I don't regret stopping her. You saved yourself. I saved us both. She would have bled me dry and then moved on to someone else. At least this way, there's a chance she learns something. And if she doesn't, then at least Mason learned, and that's enough. I chose life. I chose surgery and walking without pain and being able to take care of my grandson. I chose boundaries. I chose consequences. And I chose breakfast, pot roast, and justice all at once. Because sometimes love means letting people face what they've done, even when it breaks your heart to watch. Especially then.